You're listening to the Baumbastic Podcast with Andrew Ellis on Inside Arkansas.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Baumbastic Podcast presented by Inside Arkansas and hosted by Andrew Ellis. It is a Friday night. It's a little after 10 p.m., and the Arkansas Razorbacks are feeling a lot better. My vibes are certainly a lot better coming after Game 2 opposed to Game 1. Arkansas evens the series against the Tennessee Volunteers with an 8-6 win at Baum-Walker Stadium in front of about 11,000 Razorback fans. A really good crowd, really good atmosphere, as always, at Baum-Walker Stadium, especially when the weather's nice. And I feel like a really important win for the Arkansas Razorbacks. That improves them to 19-10 in SEC play. Most likely clinches a national seed. But overall, all things considered, Arkansas's played some really good teams. They've had some good wins throughout this year. This is win number 42 on the year for Arkansas. This might be the best win Arkansas's had when you consider everything. When you consider the fact that it most likely clinches them a national seed. When you consider the starting pitcher they were up against. We're going to talk about Liam Doyle, who I'm sure you guys are sick. I know Hog fans hate it when media people and announcers or whoever, national observers, hype up opponents. And you're like, man, why do they keep acting like this guy's the king of the world and we're over here killing him? I understand you guys, why you have that kind of mentality. But I do got to say, that's just a very important part of this story. For some of you, I don't know if this is the first time you've seen Liam Doyle pitch. Maybe you remember him at Ole Miss last year, whatever the case may be, or maybe this is the first time you saw him and you think, man, this guy sucks. He does not suck. I mean, he's got a real chance to be the first arm taken in the draft. I think that's an important part of the story here. And this is a guy that going into today was like the odds-on favorite without a doubt to be SEC Pitcher of the Year, was in the contention for National Pitcher of the Year. I said that on the show leading up that I don't think he's not a Hagen Smith level. I wouldn't say he's as good as Hagen Smith, but there's a lot of Hagen Smith characteristics in terms of the stuff output and just what this guy can bring to the table on the mound. And especially when you're taking into account he's a lefty throwing 98 with the slider. I felt like the Hogs, that's what made this so important. We knew coming into this game, especially coming off a series opener where you pitch Zach Root, you pitch Gabe Gackle, and you lose. And that kind of felt like it took the air out of Arkansas for a little bit. That's why it was such a tense crowd there. And I think that's why so many fans were having so much time had such a hard time processing that loss last night, is because they knew Tennessee had their ace coming in this game. And you knew coming into the weekend, you probably needed just one, but you'd really like 2 wins to go ahead and clinch up for sure that national seed. And so when Arkansas loses that first game, you're starting to think, holy cow, is this going to get away from us? Wheels are falling off. What's going on here? Arkansas had a big challenge in front of them. And I think it's worth noting they showed up and were ready for that challenge. Liam Doyle is not overrated. Arkansas is really damn good. That's what a good offense can do. And I said that last night whenever Tennessee made adjustments and brought it to Zach Root. And, it kind of sounds like I'm just a sunshine pumper or whatever. I think you saw that in real time. Like, these two offenses, by the way, the two teams combined for 27 hits in this game after combining for, 31 last night. There's a lot of offense in both of these lineups. Both of these teams can really get after it. You can see how these really good pitchers who have really good stuff can look a little bit average here in this setting. And shout out to Arkansas, man. They really battled him. Let's pull up the final numbers there for Liam Doyle, who goes 4 2/3, 11 hits, gives up 8 runs, 6 earned. We'll talk about how those earned runs came to pass. Had a couple walks and 10 strikeouts, threw 104 pitches, and was not able to get through 5 innings against the Arkansas pitching staff. And by the way, Arkansas used a lot of their bullpen in last night's game. So did Tennessee. They knew they had Liam Doyle going tonight. That's part of why they were kind of okay to use a lot of those arms, one of which they brought back in this game. And they didn't use anybody else too crazy, but the pitching situation for Tennessee, not that great going into Game 3, which has been a familiar story for them. I felt like last night, all the pressure was on Arkansas to win. And that's, again, why it felt like such a big deal when they lost. I think it flipped right around today where there was a lot of pressure on Tennessee, where you have a huge Game 1 and you kind of blow your load a little bit. All of a sudden your ace loses. And as I've said so many times with Zach Root, when your ace doesn't pitch well, no matter who it is, whether it's Hagen Smith, Zach Root, or even a guy like Kevin Kopps, like whatever, when your best pitcher goes out there and gets beat, it really just trickles down. It's really hard to sell yourself on why your team is really good. You start looking at all your other pitchers who are obviously not as good as your ace, and you're like, damn, if our ace can't get these guys out, what are we going to do? I think Arkansas was able to flip that on Tennessee today, really got after Liam Doyle, and really, they had a plan against this dude. And look, he's got good stuff. He finished with 11 strikeouts. Like I said, he had his moments here but Arkansas made him work for every out. It was a really impressive performance. Let's go ahead and pull up the box score here and look at the Arkansas side of this. A lot of guys did a lot of damage in this game. Charles Avalon set the tone with 3 hits at the top of the lineup. He had a hit in the first inning off Liam Doyle as well. Vahiva Aloy, another semi-quiet day. I wouldn't say Vahiva Aloy is necessarily his most comfortable at the plate right now, but he did get a single in his final AB there. I guess he didn't come around to score. Did drive in a run. Really good AB, second and third, 1 out. We'll get to that in a second. Kahio Aloy, kind of same thing, a little bit quiet for him. Ryder Helverick has a huge 2-run home run. Cam Kojal had a couple hits. Brent Iredale had a huge 2-run home run. Justin Thomas continues to be that dude. Also finished the game with a really nice defensive play out in center field. Let's talk about some of these Razorback pitching performances. Cole Gibbler, you see the numbers down there. That one jumps off the page. I thought he was maybe Arkansas's MVP in this game. Just overall, when he came into the game, there were guys on base. He ended up giving up a couple of those runs. The game was very much up for grabs, and we were on pace for like a 38-36 type of game when he entered the ball game. I felt like he really settled things down from the Arkansas side, allowed them to get into the game, and Arkansas never wound up giving up that lead. Parker Coyle gives up a 2-run home run, really the first time we've seen him get hit at all this year. Gets Arkansas a few outs there in the middle of the game. Christian Fauch picks up the save. I'm assuming, I can't remember for sure if I guess it was 8-6 when he came in, goes 2 innings, kind of had like a typical Christian Fauch 8th inning where he hits the leadoff guy, has to battle out of some trouble, ends up getting a double play ball. But Christian Fauch, who pitched yesterday, I believe he threw 20 pitches. How about Arkansas going back to Christian Fauch? Earlier today we were doing the show at Alumni Hall, which, by the way, shout out to Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. We were doing the show there at Alumni Hall, and we appreciate them for hosting us. And Curtis asked me here in the show, he's like, all right, Andrew, so, they're going to start Aiden Jimenez, and Gabe Gackle obviously threw last night, so what's Arkansas going to do in the bullpen here? Sat there and I'm like, well, Curtis, this is, I had to really think about it for a second. Now, of course, I was able to rattle off a few names, Christian Fauch being among them, Parker Coyle being among them. Cole Gibbler was a guy that I kind of thought might factor into the closing situation. Turned out he factored into the long relief situation, provided a career long outing for him. Really good stuff. Christian Fauch was kind of the de facto guy in this conversation. Of course, when all things are said and done, Gabe Gackle's going to end up pitching in a lot of high leverage situations. Is probably going to be that first arm out of the bullpen on Friday nights or game 1s of regionals or whatever it is. But Christian Fauch is a guy that we came into the year thinking, hey, he's got a chance to be a closer. He had a sub-1 ERA last year, pitched in some high leverage situations, going to be one of the top relievers taken in the draft. Like, this guy can maybe take that jump. Earlier in the year, it seemed like, hell, can Arkansas even use this guy at all? And so it's kind of been all over the place with Christian Fauch. I think he's really, over the last about 6-7 weeks, I think Christian Fauch has really kind of come into his own a little bit, filling up the zone a little bit more, but also just kind of understanding. And again, we saw him last year get in these situations where Arkansas is asking him to get 2 outs, 4 outs here, maybe come in, throw the 8th inning here, maybe get 4 outs here. Occasionally he would come in and save a game, but Arkansas didn't really ask him to do a whole lot, and he was able to thrive in that role. They kind of got back to doing that in SEC play, which really helped him. This weekend is the first time Arkansas really looked at Christian Fauch and was like, hey, we need you to stretch out a little bit here, buddy. Like, he's a guy that's throwing 100, really just a 2-pitch guy, doesn't have necessarily the skill set or, overall like versatility that lends itself to 4, 5, 6 innings per weekend. And so for him to pitch yesterday and be effective, give Arkansas a chance to settle in and make a comeback there in the 9th inning, which obviously they didn't do. But then for him to come back after throwing 20 pitches last night, throw 31 more pitches tonight and still be effective. And he was better in his 2nd inning than he was in his 1st inning tonight. I feel like that's a really big moment for him, should give him some confidence. And I think it certainly is going to be a big factor for Arkansas as we move forward, as we continue to assess kind of where things are from a pitching standpoint. We'll talk about Aiden Jimenez's start, which really, honestly did not go the way he envisioned it. Do not believe he had a strikeout. Let me pull that up just to make sure. Did not have a strikeout. Gets hit for 7 hits, allows 4 runs. 2 of those did come in after he had left the game, but he kind of gave the ball to Cole Gibbler in a tough spot. Aiden Jimenez filled up the strike zone, which is the good thing. He didn't walk anybody, but again, just didn't miss bats, and that's kind of what you have to do every now and then. Tennessee was very aggressive, and this is a Tennessee team, by the way, that hit 4 home runs yesterday. They hit 1 in this game, I believe, just the one that came off of Parker Coyle. And so you kind of think, oh, Aiden Jimenez, against a power hitting team, maybe that's a good matchup. They were a lot more sound and ready for that type of game. Like they weren't sitting on just one specific pitch. They were just putting the ball in play against him, knowing he was going to fill up the zone. They did a good job, and they chased him out of the game there early. Had a nice first inning, thought he might be able to give Arkansas some length. Ends up leaving with one out in the third inning. Let's just go ahead and jump into the rundown of how this whole game played out here. So top of the first, Aiden Jimenez works around a 2-out base hit, which is basically an infield single to Vahiva, just kind of a ball that he didn't have a chance on. Arkansas gets a couple hits against Liam Doyle in the bottom half. Neither were hit particularly hard. What was funny about the first inning for Arkansas, Charles Davalon, a left-handed hitter, gets a 1-0 pitch, kind of bloops it. Or I know, this is the one. Charles Davalon hit the one that was right up the middle that Dean Curley, I guess, at shortstop, just couldn't quite, it seemed like he kind of took his time getting to it. I don't know what was going on there. So Charles Davalon reaches on an infield single to start the game, left-handed hitter. Vahiva Aloy, right-handed hitter, strikes out on 3 pitches, 3 heaters right by him. Then another left-handed batter comes up in a left-on-left matchup. Logan Maxwell, he bloops one into center field, which allowed Charles Davalon to advance to third base with 1 out. And then you have Kahio Aloy, Ryder Helfrich come up, 6 straight fastballs right by him, 2 right-handed hitters. So it was weird that the lefties were the ones that looked like they were going to do the damage for Arkansas early. They wound up getting a good bit of damage from other guys as we moved on. But I thought that was funny that he threw 9 pitches to right-handed hitters, the lefty, 9 fastballs, all swings and misses, I believe. It was kind of crazy. Tennessee finally strikes in the top of the second inning. They take a 1-0 lead. Dean Curley starts it off with a double, an opposite field double. Dean Curley I feel like he's had 3 or 4 hits in this series, all of which have gone to the opposite field. And he's one of those guys that's in like the 6th, 7th spot in the Tennessee lineup. Both of these teams just have guys up and down the order. We're going to talk about Cannon Peebles here in a second because he's a guy, their catcher, had the big home run against Hunter Dietz last night, had the bat flip that pissed everybody off. He had a huge single in this game, or he had 2 huge singles in this game, one of which came in this top of the second, wound up with 2 outs, driving in Dean Curley from third base, just kind of poked it through the left side. They wound up getting another single after him from the 9-hole. And then Jimenez gets Gavin Keelan to foul out. And so at this point, he's through 2. He's given up a run, but he's thrown a ton of strikes. His pitch count was in a great spot. You're kind of still thinking, all right, maybe you can get some more out of him. But that second time through the lineup, which began there in the second inning, they started to really lock in on Aiden Jimenez. And so it became clear right away that maybe it wasn't going to work out. But Arkansas responded right away in the bottom of the second. Cam Kojal lines a base hit up the middle, really good piece of hitting. And then Brent Iredale gets a 2-1 heater from Liam Doyle. And I want to say, I can't remember if there was a mound visit or there maybe it was just like the catcher came out to talk or whatever. And it was like the next pitch after, which I always love when that pitcher has a little bit of a reset or it's like, okay, I need to settle in. I need to get a strike here. And he just grooves a fastball. And I say grooves a fastball. He's throwing 98 at the top of the zone. Liam Doyle is a guy that lives. He has that. I mean, it's like we said on the preview show, it's pretty simple. It's a fastball slider combo. There's not much like deception. It's kind of, the 2 pitches. It's just a matter of if you can hit them. He lives with that fastball at the top of the zone. That's where he gets a lot of his swings and misses. He got a swing and miss from Vahiva Aloy on a fastball that was like the catcher had to like jump to catch damn near. Like he likes to elevate that fastball. Brent Iredale gets one that he can handle in the zone. Absolutely obliterates it 109 miles an hour. Brent Iredale, by the way, who had a really good showing in this game, been swinging the bat a lot better. He hasn't had a swing like that in a while where it's just connect, barrel, sweet spot, easy. It was 109 miles an hour off the bat, over 400. I don't remember what the final velocity or final travel distance was on that, but just a really like those are the type of swings as a hitter that you like live for. A lot of times you can get base hits with maybe not your best swing or you're in a 1-2 count. You kind of have to fight one off. You can have productive swings that don't feel like that. For Brent Iredale to have a swing like that, I think when you're talking about a guy that has such a high ceiling offensively, and it would be nice for Arkansas to really get him going in a big way down the stretch. He's hitting in the 7-hole right now because of some of the struggles he's had in SEC play. That was the kind of swing that I feel like you kind of think, okay, we're getting that guy back. We're getting the dangerous version of Brent Iredale back. Had a couple more nice swings in this game. Arkansas gets another run. Reese Robinette strikes out swinging, but then Justin Thomas Jr. reaches with a base hit up the middle, kind of just beats out an infield single to the second baseman. I think it might have been Curley at shortstop again that kind of struggled to make that play. Didn't really have a chance on this one. And then Charles Davalon doubles to right center. I didn't think this was going to be a double off the bat. It was kind of in shallow right center, but Thomas gets to third base. Davlon legs it out. He was fired up. And that was a 3-2 count also. He had kind of battled Liam Doyle a little bit. Once again, this begins his second trip to the lineup, another left-on-left matchup where Arkansas is able to win against maybe the best lefty in the country. And that's where Vahiva Aloy was second and third, one out. And Vahiva did not have a great day at the plate, had a couple really bad strikeouts. His last time up had struck out on 3 pitches that none of them were close, about as bad of an at-bat as you could have, if I'm being honest with you. And so Vahiva, who, as we know, heavy strikeout candidate, for him to come up with runners at second and third, 2-1 game, and just kind of poke a ground ball up the middle. He ends up grounding out, drives home a run. I thought that was a really good, important, unselfish swing. You love to see that from your star player, who also is playing some really good defense. So you go into the third inning, and this is where Aiden Jimenez was chased from the game. Andrew Fischel absolutely blasted double to right center to start the inning. You have a pretty hard hit fly out from Hunter Inslee. Dylan Bargo, who killed Arkansas yesterday, had a bunch of hits to the opposite field from the left side, doubles down the left field line, just a really good pitch, jumped on the first one he saw, and then Dean Curley legs out an infield single, which Vahiva really didn't have a chance to make this play. And that's when Arkansas goes to Cole Gibler, who comes in to face the lefty Reese Chapman. And Tennessee, by the way, has a ton of big-time left-handed pitchers or left-handed hitters in their lineup. Fisher is left-handed. Keelan's left-handed. Chapman's left-handed. I feel like there's one more that I'm forgetting, one of their bigger bats. But a lot of those guys kind of spaced out throughout the lineup. And so there was a lot of opportunities. I mean, Arkansas ended up going to Parker Coyle in a similar left-on-left matchup. They had Landon Beitelscheiss kind of looming in the dugout, looming in the bullpen late in that game, thinking they might have to go to him for another left-on-left situation. So you kind of felt like this might be an opportunity for Cole Gibler to kind of earn his stripes. He wound up finding a groove against this Tennessee lineup. I don't know. There was one lefty that had a base hit off of him. I think it might have even been Chapman late in his outing, but he really didn't give up much at all. He gave up a couple little base hits here and there. He did give up a 2-run single in this very frame that I'm talking about. After he comes in, gets Chapman swinging, strikes him out, ends up issuing a 3-2 walk to the DH Clark. And then it was Cannon Peebles again, their catcher, who's hitting 220. So naturally, he just turns into Buster Posey this weekend, lines a base hit up the middle, really good swing, jumped on the Cole Gibler fastball, which, by the way, is notable. Cole Gibler didn't do a ton of pitch mixing in this game. It was mostly fastball slider. And when I say fastball slider, it was about 75% slider. Had a great feel for that. I mean, that is a plus pitch that he's been fooling dudes with going back to the fall when he first got to campus. At the absolute very least, Cole Gibler is a damn good left-on-left specialist for that and that alone. He had good command for that pitch. He was getting swings and misses on it. He was also throwing it early in counts to get ahead. He also located some fastballs. He didn't get a ton of swings and misses. He wasn't getting outs with his fastballs, but he was working back into the count, getting ahead in the count with his fastball. I thought it was just, I mean, it was the best outing I've seen Cole Gibler have, given the situation, given everything. And this is a guy, by the way, who came into the game with 42 strikeouts in 20 innings. Now, not all of that's coming SEC play, obviously, but I mean, he's got some legit swing and miss stuff, and he went against one of the best lineups in the country tonight. Went through it twice, had 3 1/3. Couldn't ask for much more out of Cole Gibler. This was the really only mistake he made was allowing Cannon Peebles to single to center field, which gave Tennessee the lead again. I guess that made it a 4-3 game. That lead did not last too long. Kahio Aloy was hit by a pitch to start the bottom of the third, and then Ryder Helfrich, very similar to the Brent Iredale home run, fastball, top of the zone, but just kind of caught too much and was a little bit too much over the heart of the plate. And Ryder Helfrich, who has so many, I mean, how many home runs this year has Ryder Helfrich hit foul, where he's just been a little bit out in front? It's hard to get out in front on 98, but he kind of did that with this swing, almost to the exact same spot that Brent Iredale hit his, almost the exact same pitch, absolutely ambushes a fastball. And like I said, with Liam Doyle, there's not much deception. It's pretty much, here's my 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Can you hit it? Here's my 89-mile-an-hour slider. Can you hit it? Arkansas was locking in on those pitches and got a few they could handle, and they did not miss them when they got their opportunities. So that gives Arkansas the lead. Brent Iredale reached with a single, and Justin Thomas Jr. wound up walking later in the inning, so they kept making Doyle work, but that was all the damage there. Gibler comes back in the fourth, retires the side in order, which again, at this point, so Tennessee scores in the top of the second, Arkansas scores in the bottom of the second. Tennessee scores in the top of the third. Arkansas scores in the bottom of the third. Cole Gibler putting up this 0 here in the fourth inning felt like a big deal in the moment. He did it 3 up, 3 down. I thought that was really important. Strikes, and it was the top of their order. It was 1, 2, 3. Really good stuff. Arkansas adds a run in the bottom of the fourth. Vahiva Aloy strikes out swinging. Logan Maxwell once again. And now he actually earned this one. He got a fastball elevated too. All 3 of the home runs were elevated fastballs, believe it or not. He actually earned his a little bit because he fell behind in the count. Had to foul off a pitch or two, and then finally gets a heater he could do something with, and kind of pimped it a little bit. Really good to see from Logan Maxwell. Arkansas missed his consistency, man. And when he came back and wasn't quite healthy, you could kind of tell you weren't getting the same version of Logan Maxwell. And Dave Van Horn actually alluded to it in one of his press conferences. Was like, we want to see the guy who's like really swinging with authority and like is a real threat at the plate. Like, you can come back and be 80% and maybe you can get on base, maybe you can work a walk, but like, we had you hitting third because we felt like you could do some real damage. And by the way, this is the 10th home run of the season for Logan Maxwell. And this is a guy, reminder, had 3 home runs all of last year. Actually, it might have been only 3 in his entire TCU career. Hits 10 home runs this year, and he missed like a month of the season and was kind of in and out of the lineup early on. Logan Maxwell's been awesome. He's been really good this weekend. Great to see him return to action and great to see him return to form. Cole Gibler puts up another 0 in the 5th inning, and that's where Cole Gibler, by the way, gets the win in this game. And that's where you kind of, the tide officially at this point has turned in Arkansas's favor. It's only a 6-4 game. And with how good these offenses are, it's hard to feel comfortable about a 6-4 lead. But this is really where Arkansas kind of took control of the game. And so he comes back in the 5th inning, gets 2 quick ground outs, allows a base hit to Reese Chapman, but then gets a ground ball to Vahiva Aloy to end the inning there. Arkansas comes back in the 5th, and this is where Arkansas really took the momentum of the game, get Liam Doyle out of there. So he strikes out Kozel to start the inning, walks Brent Iredale, strikes out Robinette, strikes out 2 lefties there. And then Justin Thomas Jr., they credited him with an infield single on this. I don't know if that's necessarily what happened here. So again, runner on first, 2 outs, ground ball to the shortstop, and it goes to the shortstop's right. So imagine this, if you will. Goes to the shortstop's right. He doesn't have a chance to get Justin Thomas. Like, Justin Thomas is going to reach first base, but Brent Iredale is hit pretty hard coming from first base, had a decent chance. If he makes a halfway decent throw to second base, I mean, it's an easy step on the bag. He would have beat him by 5 feet. Move on. You're still 6-4 ball game. Throws it completely behind him. He didn't have a chance to catch it. And it was thrown at a weird angle, shortstop to second base. Like, if the third baseman had thrown this, the right fielder would have been kind of there to back it up. But the angle he threw this at, there was nobody there. So he gets all the way to the fence down there in foul territory, allows Brent Iredale to score all the way from first on this ground ball that didn't leave the infield. And then Justin Thomas Jr. gets all the way to third base. Charles Davalon follows up with a base hit through the right side. Just smokes I think it was a breaking ball. It was a slider that he got. Just smokes it through the right side for a single. That makes it an 8-4 game. And this game wound up finishing 8-6. That was a big deal. And last night, I felt like Arkansas was on the other end of all these weird runs that kept getting lost, or these weird runs that kept going one way or the other, defensive play that they couldn't quite make. You have the one runner gets thrown out of the plate. One runner doesn't score from first on a double. Like, all these breaks that Arkansas wasn't getting last night, they get in this one. These were 2 very important runs. Basically wound up determining the game because Arkansas didn't do much against the Tennessee bullpen. And so that was kind of all she wrote. And so Cole Gibler comes back out in the 6th inning, gets Peebles to ground out, strikes out the 9-hole Marine, and then Gavin Keelan singles to right center field. That was all for him. They bring in Parker Coyle, who ends up giving up a double to Andrew Fisher, puts runners on second and third, right into a little bit of a tough situation. I had just tweeted out that Cole Gibler had thrown 3 1/3 scoreless innings. So if Parker Coyle had wound up giving up a run there, it would have made me a liar. So I wouldn't have appreciated that, but he did get Hunter Inslee to fly out to right field to end that inning. Tennessee at this point, the arm they went to in this game, let's see, they go to Austin Breedlove, hard-throwing righty, who really hasn't thrown in a ton of high-leverage situations for them. Again, you're down 8-4 at this point for Tennessee, so you're not going to see one of their top arms, not that they have that many left anyway. He wound up giving them a really good outing. He goes, let's see, he goes an inning and 2/3, strikes out 3, gives up 1 hit, 1 walk, does not give up a run. And then they had a couple other guys combined for the other 5 outs, including Tanner Franklin, who threw, I believe, one or two pitches last night, and the one hitter he faced was Brent Iredale hitting a very hard line drive out to strand the bases loaded last night. They bring him back. He throws an inning. And so that was kind of how they pieced it together. I don't know what Tennessee would have done had they gotten a lead in this game, because they kind of blew their load last night from a bullpen standpoint. But it wound up not mattering because the Arkansas bullpen did such a good job. Although I guess I should point out that Parker Coyle, I guess it was the top of the seventh, where Reese Chapman hits a double to the right center field. He had a good night, I guess. And then the DH Clark homers to right field. There was they called it a triple in live. Like, anybody who was watching could kind of tell and just kind of knows the park. You can kind of tell there's a net up there in front of the performance facility. So when a ball bounces back, you can kind of tell, okay, it bounced off that net right there. The umpire was like, no, double. Just one run scores there. The hitter was confused. Logan Maxwell out there in right field didn't really put up much of an argument. I think he knew it was a home run, obviously. They wound up finally getting that sorted out. So that cuts the lead to 8-6, which, just continues to put pressure on, makes this now a save situation, and makes this outing for Christian Fouch that much bigger. There was a little bit of a weird play in the bottom of the seventh. I thought Arkansas got a raw deal on this call. So Cam Kojal rips a base hit to right. Brent Iredale strikes out swinging, and then Reese Robinette, they bring in Arvidsson, the reliever, to come face Robinette there. And Reese Robinette hits a ball at the middle about as hard as you can hit it, and it whizzed right by this dude's head. Like, I thought it might have killed the dude if it would have hit him. But it ends up going right to where they had the guy played in the shift, steps on the bag at second, and then throws Reese Robinette out. I didn't get a good look at the replay live. I thought he was safe by like 4 feet. Like, I didn't even think it was close. Maybe it was closer than it looked, but I couldn't believe that that review came back and they said he was still out. So whatever, you ground into a double play there. And then you bring in Christian Fouch in the top of the eighth, and he hits the first pitch he throws, hits the 9-hole. And so then now you have top of the lineup coming back, tying run at the plate. All these guys, you got Keelan's got 14 home runs on the year. Fisher has 21 home runs on the year. Curley's got 10, 12 home runs on the year. All these guys, Bargo's got 13. He's been killing you all weekend. Like, all these guys who you can just see hitting that big home run coming to the plate. And so for Christian Fouch to hit the 9-hole with the first pitch he threw, I know there was like half y'all listening right now are sitting there at home like, here we go again with Fouch. This guy sucks, man. He can never get anybody out. And I'm sure we all kind of thought a little bit of that. But he winds up getting Keelan to line out to third base on a ball that Brent Iredale had to jump for. It wasn't hit very hard. Like, off the bat, it didn't make one of those like loud noises. It was going to end up being kind of a bloop single, but Brent Iredale just jumps up there and gets it. I can't believe, what inning was that? I can't believe I didn't mention that. What inning was that Brent Iredale just made the unreal? Oh, it was the top of the fourth against Cole Gibler, where Brent Iredale against Andrew Fisher just pops one up. He kind of had a check swing that goes into foul territory. I'm sure you guys saw the play on Twitter. Might be the play of the year. Brent Iredale has to cover a ton of ground, dives and catches it in foul territory, dives basically right into the barricade there down the left field line in foul territory. I thought he was going to have a concussion and have to leave the game, but he kind of laughed it off, ended up fielding a ground ball after that. The crowd was going crazy, doing the Aussie, Aussie, Aussie chant. They're playing Land Down Under. It was just a great moment there. And he, of course, had homered earlier in the game. And so if you weren't a Brent Iredale fan going into today, I'm sure you're a lot closer to being a Brent Iredale fan coming out of it. He was the MVP of the game, man. That was awesome stuff. But he makes a nice little defensive play here as well. Snags a line drive for the first out in the eighth inning. And when you're, at this point, we were in full on. I mean, you're up by 2 in the eighth inning. You're full on counting outs. You'll take them any way you can get them. He gets the line out there. And then Andrew Fisher singles to right field, which moves runners to first and third base. Didn't hit the ball super hard, so the unrun had a clear opportunity to go up to third base. This was a huge moment in the game here. You have Hunter Inslee, their senior outfielder, due up, and he could not have rolled a ground ball more perfectly into the glove of Vahiva Loy. Easy toss to Kojal, easy flip to first, double play ball, 6-4-3, inning over, threat over, and that's really when the crowd went going crazy. That's when you could tell, or Arkansas was winning this game. It was their night. You felt pretty good. Arkansas put some pressure on in the eighth inning there, come back in the ninth inning. I guess there was a walk. I forgot there was a walk, but Christian Fouch gets a strikeout of Reese Chapman, gets a line drive to center field, which Justin Thomas, I don't know if Justin Thomas really needed to dive for this one, but he did, and it looked really cool when he did it. And so credit to him. You will give them a web gem. We'll give them a golden star for that. The Hogs get a very important Game 2 victory. And like I said earlier, I think it probably clinches a national seed for the Razorbacks. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what they do tomorrow. Hopefully they just go whip ass tomorrow. Doesn't matter. And, we'll just kind of all move on. And I know that after I said this was maybe their best win of the year, if they lose tomorrow, everyone's going to come flooding back and be like, is it still the win of the year? And I would still say, yeah, probably, because they still beat Tennessee. It was still an awesome performance. Got some big time performances from Cole Gibbler, Christian Fouch, and clinched the national seed. But we shall see. I'm also excited to watch this team play tomorrow. They play at 2 p.m. And so let's think about this pitching situation for a while. I haven't had really any time to do this. So Gage Wood, obviously on the mound for Arkansas, he should be up to a fairly sizable workload. Like, I don't know if he's going to throw 100 pitches necessarily, but and I don't remember what his pitch count was last week. I don't know if he got quite to 70, but he was pulled due to performance more so than workload issues last weekend. We'll see. I would imagine, because it was supposed to be 75 to 80 last week, I would imagine at this point he could throw maybe 85, 90. I'd imagine the number they have in mind is probably in that range. And so we'll see what that looks like. Of course, 83 pitches through 6 innings is a lot different than 83 pitches through 3 innings, where you're having a battle, runners on first and second, you're in the stretch, fouling pitches off, all this stuff. So we'll see like what his outing looks like, how much he's able to give Arkansas. But got to say, when you get to Game 3 of a series and both teams have really used a ton of bullpen arms, both teams have had to piece these games together a good bit. Pretty good to have a guy in Gage Wood who's projected top 40 pick. Like, you could do a lot worse than having Gage Wood for Game 3. Another guy that we have not seen yet in this series, Landon Beidelshees, who again was kind of lingering in that bullpen all game. He went down there early. I didn't know, what type of situation they were thinking for him. I thought for a second, I think I even tweeted it out, I thought everything was kind of leading up to where one of these big-time left-handed hitters were going to come up in the 9th inning with a couple runners on, and it was going to have to be Landon Beidelshees coming in for a save situation. That would have been fun to see. We'll have to wait till tomorrow. So you're going to have Gage Wood, Landon Beidelshees for sure. I would imagine 2 of the right-handers that Arkansas threw in Game 1 on Thursday, both Dylan Carter, who threw like 8 pitches maybe. I don't think he threw that many pitches at all, maybe 10, 12. I would imagine he almost certainly will be available. We've seen him throw twice in a weekend before. Ben Bybee threw 1 inning. I think he threw about 18, 20 pitches, did walk a couple guys. I would imagine he would also be available tomorrow. I don't think Hunter Dietz, who threw 8 pitches on Thursday, I don't think he's throwing. I obviously don't expect Gabe Gackle to be available. Coyle, weirdly enough, how many pitches did Coyle throw in this game? I bet Coyle, no, he threw 27, maybe probably not. Especially as he's working his way back from injury. But there's a little bit of a setup there for Arkansas. Ben Bybee, by the way, who we've seen come up clutch for Arkansas in that Vanderbilt series. What do you throw? The final 4 innings in that series. We've seen, Dylan Carter has obviously given Arkansas tons of huge outs. I imagine they're probably going to expect at least a couple innings out of Dylan Carter. But I think if all goes well in a very ideal world for Arkansas, what you have is Gage Wood gives you about 5. Landon Beidelshees gives you about 2. And then you can kind of piece together those final 2 innings with either one of those guys. Maybe Steele Leaves. Maybe you want to get creative. Maybe Colin Fisher if you want to get wild. Maybe Tate McGuire if you want to get crazy. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I don't think I am, right? Maybe there is a name I'm just completely forgetting. It's getting up to near 11 o'clock. I'm starting to get a little delirious, but I'm in a great mood because the Arkansas Razorbacks got a huge Game 2 victory. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon for a recap. And then I'm probably going to do some type of video Sunday recapping, kind of taking a little bit of a big picture look at Arkansas's regular season, which, of course, will conclude tomorrow afternoon. And so we'll take a look at that, kind of see where Arkansas finished out in the SEC regular season standings, look at where Arkansas is going to be lined up for Hoover, see what that all looks like, give you a little bit of a preview there. But it's an exciting time, man. It's exciting, and I think this win should definitely give Arkansas fans a little bit of a sigh of relief. I haven't checked Twitter and seen if Kendall Rogers has done the whole, Arkansas is a lock, they're already in now. If not, I'll have to hit him up and make sure he gets on that right away. But should give fans a little bit more good feeling about this Razorback team, which I think we all desperately needed. If they can go out and finish the job tomorrow, and they're going to play hard, I think that could be really nice. But for this game, man, I just think it's really important as you enter this new era of Arkansas pitching where still haven't figured out that starting rotation. Don't know what that's going to look like. But for this bullpen to piece together yet another weekend, piece together yet another win, and to have 2 big arms like Gibbler and Fouch step up and do the job, That's big time. That's going to be confidence booster for them moving forward. Hell, for Cole Gibler, I think we're probably, I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be asking, do we start maybe putting him in that starting pitching conversation? In which case, you could definitely sell me. It's not going to take you too much to sell me. But I think this win and just the way it played out, kind of, it's what you wanted to see. Like, if you're a guy that's kind of wondering, can Arkansas really match up with these elite teams? Do they really have the arms to put some of these really good offenses away? Can they slug with some of these top offenses? Do they have the pitching? Like, can they hit good pitching? That's another big question. I think Arkansas answered a lot of those questions in a big way in this game. Now, of course, you have to keep proving it. You have to keep doing it. But I think this is the type of game that really you can sell yourself on the upside of what this team can accomplish. And it's why I truly believe, like, on any given day, this Razorback team is a threat to beat anybody. And so we'll see if they can do that on Gage Wood Day tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I'm sure he's going to be fired up to throw against Tennessee. Can't wait to watch him in action, and can't wait to be back here tomorrow to recap what will hopefully be a resounding series victory for the Arkansas Razorbacks. But I appreciate you guys for tuning into the Baumbastic Podcast. We will be back tomorrow. Appreciate everybody.